The holiday season is here and it's the most wonderful time of the year, right? But it's also the busiest and very stressful, especially if you're trying to stay on track, if you're trying to lose weight, maybe maintain those results, all the progress that you made throughout the year, and if you're trying to avoid that holiday weight gain. But we are here to help. I've assembled an amazing group of people that are going to help you thrive through the holidays. We have a lot of strategies. My name is Arias. I'm a certified nutritionist and I've lost over 100 pounds. And joining me today are Chef Mario Limaduran. He is Culinary Director at Trifecta. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we also have Dr. William Yee. He's a board certified general surgeon and also a medical director at Orderly Meds. Welcome, doctor.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we have a lot to get through today. We want to help you get on with the holidays. We want to make sure that you have strategies to get you traveling well for the holiday season. We also are going to help you navigate those holiday dinners, those social events on your calendar, and then also how to get back on track because it's going to be a lot of partying. We know you're going to party. So you want to make sure that you're able to bounce back and get on with your fitness and health goals. So we have a lot to get through. But first, let's get to know each other a little bit better. We want you to know who we are and why we are here so we can help you. So Chef, you have a lot of experience from South America to all over North America and everywhere in between. Mm-hmm. So tell us about your journey and also what you're doing at Trifecta.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here with you guys. So I have a culinary nutrition degree, a bachelor's degree from Johnson Wales University. So I've focused on not only the culinary aspect of things throughout my career, but also the nutrition aspect of things on the sports performance side, but also now with Trifecta for people in general. Okay. I also have a lot of Michelin experience and restaurant experience. Okay. And I've translated that to being able to create and do research and development for Trifecta over the last 6 years.
I love that.
So Trifecta is a meal delivery company. We ship nationwide.
So this is what it would come in.
Exactly. So this orange box will arrive to your box every single Friday with fresh meals ready to eat. We have different meal plans. Our mission is to provide convenient, healthy, delicious, and sustainable meals to help our customers reach their goals, their health goals, whether it's gain, lose, maintain weight. Okay. These meals work exactly for that.
I love that. They look so tasty. Red enchilada, chicken tamales.
That's actually our best-selling meal.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks really tasty. Yeah. I want to try that a little bit later.
And the beautiful thing is that we have different meal plans and we can adjust to different dietary guidelines. We also have a GLP-1 approved meal plan that has a bunch of really tasty options, and it makes it super convenient and easy for people to stay on track with their goals. They don't have to think about the cooking, they don't have to think about the diet, about anything. We've done all the work and we deliver these meals directly to our customers' doors so they can just reheat the meals and stay on track with their goals.
Yeah, that sounds really easy. And you mentioned GLP-1. So Dr. Yee, I want to turn to you. You've helped thousands of people with their weight loss journey through surgery and now through the use of GLP-1 medications through Orderly Meds. So tell us about that journey and then we can get a little bit more into what the medication is and what it does.
Sure. I'm a bariatric surgeon and been helping people lose weight through surgery for many years now. Okay. And GLP-1s have been recently approved for weight loss. Yeah. They were initially developed for diabetes. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they work wonders for patients who can't tolerate surgery or even those. I don't like to say that some people don't do well after surgery, but some patients do regain weight after bariatric surgery. Mm-hmm. And GLP-1s, specifically, these compounded medications do wonders for patients who, don't do well with surgery. And so it's been a very nice complement for the operative techniques that we have.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, you're just using all the tools available to help people reach their goal. I love that. And so as someone who's lost a lot of weight, I know that these final weeks of the year can be really difficult because of all the temptation and it's easy to just overdo it or just not even focus on nutrition. But like I said, we are here to help. And so we want to make sure that you plan ahead. I always say, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So we want to help you get to that, whatever goal it is at the end of the year. So let's get to it. Okay, are you guys ready for the holidays?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you sure? Yeah. I never feel ready, and it's weird because the holiday season, the holidays happen every time at the same time every year, but I'm never ready for it. It always sneaks up on me. And if you're like me, then you're gonna want to listen to this. We have some tips to kind of help you thrive through the traveling, because you need to prepare before you actually get to your holiday destination, whether you're flying, you're driving, or just walking over to grandma's house. Okay, so we're gonna help you. I'm gonna get started because I know each of us have different tips. I like to travel with my protein powder. I know that sounds really weird, but I'm picky. So I just portion size it, and that way I travel with it. If I have a little snack attack, on the plane, I just add a little water, my shake bottle, and then I have a nutritious, high protein meal or snack that I can have on the plane.
Super smart.
Very smart, right? And then I like, trail mix. I just mix it myself because I don't want to pay at the airport for those overpriced, trail mixes that they have. And again, I'm sort of weird, but I don't like to drink water. Like, if it doesn't have flavor, I have to season it. Maybe it's the Latina in me, but I like to flavor my water.
To each their own.
Right?
Yeah,
So I buy these like flavor packets so that I can stay hydrated, because it's really important. So that's one tip. Travel with the things that you need.
Yeah.
This is also important because, do you guys have like a morning routine?
I don't.
You don't, do you?
To an extent, yeah.
A little bit. I am religious about my routine, and so whenever I travel and I'm gonna be away from home, I like to have a little bit of a normal routine. So packing, preparing, and having a little bit of my morning routine wherever I'm gonna be is super helpful, so I can stay on track. So whatever that routine looks like for you, think about it, prepare for it, and that's how you can stay on track.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, Dr. Yi, if someone is traveling with medication, specifically GLP-1 medication, what are some travel tips that you have for them?
Yeah, I think a very frequent question that we get is, can I take my medications prepackaged in the needle out of the vial that it comes in? And we don't recommend that, mostly for contamination purposes.
Okay.
So you want to keep your medications with you. And the other question that we frequently get is that, can I take my medications? Yep, that's the needle that it comes in, or it comes with. And another question that we frequently get is, can I travel with my medications on me? And yes, they are TSA approved, so you can travel with the medications on the flight with you. And that's actually what we recommend. We don't recommend checking them, mostly because you want your medications with you, and in case they get lost, you don't have the medications over the holidays, so you want to keep them on you.
Or your flight gets delayed or canceled, and you have to hop on another flight, and then your bag's stuck in Miami, but you need it in New York.
Exactly.
That always happens. So yeah, be aware that there could be delays. So pack or bring stuff that you really need in your carry-on,
Correct.
always with
Yep,
you.
exactly.
I love that. And one of the things that during the holidays people are always thinking about is like the main dish, like the main holiday dinner. But people forget that you're also going to have to be eating throughout the day. Like there's still breakfast and lunch, and you're going to get a little hungry before the main event. But no one's thinking about cooking those other meals.
Yep.
So I like to sort of meal prep, like prepare meals ahead of time, like maybe some egg whites for, when hunger strikes, I can just go in the fridge and get them. But I get it. It's busy, especially if you have kids and lots of people will be in the house. If that's not an option, Trifecta is here to help. So tell us about the meals, and specifically, you can travel with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this conversation just ties itself all together because you can get your snacks, pack them, your meds, pack them.
Yeah.
And the meals that we ship, as I mentioned before, are cold or shipped refrigerated. We ship them with these gel packs. So you can freeze these. These come frozen. Keep them free. You can keep them frozen as well.
Okay.
And you can put them in a bag, in a little lunch box per se, with your meals. And your meals are actually TSA friendly. You can just TSA is not going to say anything. The airline industry allows you to have a bag of food, and they don't count it as an actual bag.
Oh wow.
So even if you have a rather large bag with all your meals, with all your snacks, it's not going to count against your allowed.
I didn't know
bags.
that.
Yeah,
With any food, I guess?
with any food.
Okay.
You just got to tell them that it's food. Definitely check your airlines and whatever rules that they may have. But for what we understand, that's something that is allowed within the United States.
Yeah. That's a great point. I had no idea that was the case. And obviously, these keep in the fridge. So if you're traveling to your grandparents' house, you can keep them there for a couple of days.
Absolutely.
They last, like 10 days in the fridge?
So in the fridge, they last 7 days, and frozen up to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can freeze them and then take them with you in a bag and then thaw them throughout your travels. I've actually traveled with these myself.
You have?
And I
Just like this?
Well, no, in a bag.
Okay.
But I typically take them out of the bag and I walk around the airport if I have a layover. And sometimes I've eaten them cold. It's not the best experience, but it's not. I mean, they're really
don't mind,
tasty.
yeah.
It's better than the burgers or the terrible food that sometimes
And
you find at
expensive.
airports.
It's
And expensive,
so
yeah.
expensive.
And
Yeah.
sometimes if you find a restaurant that is nice enough, they'll actually reheat the meal for you.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that I have traveled with glass Tupperware. Like I'll make my meals and then I'll travel with them, and the flight attendants are so nice. Like I think I've one time I did have a hard time, and I said I have an allergy, and they said, "Oh, okay, we'll warm it up." And because it was in glass, they were able to pop it in the oven that they have back there, warmed it up for me, and it was so great. So
Yeah, and these are microwavable safe.
Okay.
So you can pop them in the microwave. You can take them out
Even
whenever
better.
you're at home and do the air fryer. You can do the stovetop. But during travel, this is a super convenient way to stay on track, have your nutrition, and not deviate from it.
okay, I love that. So lots of tips there so that you can plan ahead, stay on track when you're traveling. And then coming up, we're gonna be talking about the actual gatherings themselves. When you're at the table, how much do you eat, what to stay away from, how to manage all that, because there's going to be a lot of food at that dinner table. So that is coming up next. It's getting a little festive in the kitchen. We're getting ready to party, as you can tell. And I don't know how many holiday parties you guys have to go to this year, but they
Couple.
add up, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna add up. So there's gonna be lots of temptation, a lot of desserts, a lot of food. And so we are going to help you navigate through all those dinners and social events, starting with a couple of tips. We all have different tips we're gonna share with you on how to thrive during those holiday dinners. But the first thing for me is to stay hydrated. When I was losing weight, I would confuse my thirst for hunger. So I wasn't really hungry, I was more thirsty. So just a reminder, stay hydrated, drink water. Like I mentioned, if you need a little flavor, add a little flavor to your water if that motivates you to drink more water. One trick that I have is add a little bit of salt to your water. It helps you, so you can stay hydrated, and it helps you with your electrolytes. Okay? Another thing that we want to tackle is the alcohol. So Dr. Yi, for people who are on GLP-1 medications, what do they need to know about alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, with these medications, there's nothing that's preventing individuals from enjoying alcohol. But what we find is that patients who are taking GLP-1 agonists, they tend to not really enjoy drinking that much. So for those individuals during the holidays, I recommend they mix it up and go with a mocktail.
Okay.
That way they can still socialize, but not necessarily have to drink alcohol.
So the craving just kind of goes away?
We find that a lot of vices, things like smoking, alcohol use, tend to go away with patients who are taking these medications.
So they don't even enjoy it anymore?
No, exactly.
That's a great way to get healthy.
Yeah.
Right? That's really interesting. So there's no buzz or any effects?
No, they still get the same effect. The only thing is that their kind of like drive or desire to have these things kind of goes away.
Yeah, because there is a bit of a social pressure to drink. Like I know when I go to events,
Absolutely.
it's like everybody's drinking. They have something, on their hand, and
Yeah, it's
and
emotion
so
also of like having a drink while you're talking.
It
yeah.
helps with anxiety,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So yeah, like to your point, a mocktail is a good option, and that's what we're gonna show you how to make. It's super easy, it's tasty, and this is my go-to for the holidays. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make it. So
Okay.
we're all gonna make it
We'll
together.
follow suit.
Yeah, it's super easy. So in here, I just have some ice cubes. You can get fancy with them, get some fancy molds, but we're just using normal cubes. And then this is sugar-free cranberry because we want it to be festive and colorful. So just a splash there, right about that, maybe a little bit more, and then shop. You can also use any other juice. I like sugar-free stuff, so that's why I went with this. But if you just want to use a lemon, squeeze it, maybe an orange, squeeze that. Just add a little bit of flavor, and then I love sparkling water. Some people hate it. How do you guys feel about it? Where do you stand on that?
I mean, as long as you're having water and then as your main hydration, I think sparkling water adds, just a little
Yeah.
sparkle to life.
Yeah. But some people
That was
hate
cheesy.
they think it's like staticky and they hate that sensation, but for me, that's like the big thing that makes me love it. Yeah, here you go, Doc. So that you just kind of mix it in, just kind of add volume to it, make that fizz, that festive fizz, and then you can get really creative. Like we have some
Absolutely.
cranberries here, just drop them in there. We froze these to add a little bit of like a fancy element, and then you can just garnish. So feel free.
A little rosemary.
Yeah, rosemary. What other option, chef, could we use for garnish? What do you think?
Oh, well, like you said, you can get creative as with anything with flavor. Fall, holiday season, you get a lot of those warm flavors.
Yeah.
I was in the supermarket this morning and I found this ginger lemon soda.
Okay.
We're in a day and age where you have a lot of healthier
versions of absolutely everything, and the soda.
Alternatives for everything.
Yeah, and sodas is one of the markets that's been coming up as a healthy alternative.
Yeah.
So this one's ginger lemon with cranberry, a little bit of cranberries, and rosemary would go really well for the holidays. So you can get creative. You can look at recipes also online to see what pairs well with what.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little more on the culinary side, there's this book called The Flavor Bible. Excellent resource to
I like
pair
that.
different flavors.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do whatever really.
Love that. And these are low calorie, obviously.
Yeah,
I
low
think
calorie.
people forget that alcohol and cocktails have so many calories, so much sugar. And then, especially if you're on medication, like you can't, consume that much. So if you're like using or you're consuming too much alcohol, then you're not going to get hungry for the good stuff. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first things first, stay hydrated, friends. And the beauty about this, cheers, salud,
Cheers,
salud, is that it looks like it could be spiked and no one needs to know. Okay?
This was the important part.
No one needs to know.
Yeah.
And what I tell my nutrition clients, if you are going to drink, I tell them drink a glass of water between drinks if you're going to drink alcohol. So, all right. So now we have the drinks covered. Chef, you
Let's
have
go.
food coming?
Let's get to the kitchen.
All right, let's go. All right, we promised that there will be food. And Chef, look what you did. Looks amazing. It's time for feasting.
Okay.
But this is also where we get in trouble.
Absolutely.
Because everything looks so good and we tend to overdo it. So
Yeah.
what can we do?
Well, I would say this is where we can get in trouble.
I like that.
I think that especially if you're a GLP-1, portion control is super important, and developing that muscle, that tool, learning what your body needs is super important. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn what your body needs, and be able to portion control all your meals.
Right.
The holidays is no different, and the holidays doesn't mean that you need to avoid foods or not eat the spread that your family, friends have put out. It just means that you need to portion control.
Love that.
So we wanted
Okay.
to showcase a very holiday-like dinner meal.
What do we have here?
So we have a bunch of actually quite healthy things. We have some potato mash that is pre-portioned actually. It's 4 ounces, each one of them.
Okay.
We have a butternut squash cranberry salad. We have some green beans, very typical of the holidays of the fall. We have a Brussels sprout salad with a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Yummy.
A little bit more of the butternut squash, and then we have a salad, a side salad,
Okay.
that we can serve ourselves. Of course, we also are going to have
The main event.
the proteins themselves. This is super important. So one thing that we need to focus on, well, in GLP-1 especially, and as a general rule, is making sure that you're intaking a lot of protein, or protein, the amount of protein that your body needs, so that we're avoiding muscle wasting, right?
Okay, love that. So then you're gonna help us sort of like create a plate. Like
Yes.
what would the ideal holiday plate look like?
Yes, so let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So we have 2 different plates here. One is larger, one is smaller. I think this is a great tool to always have in your back pocket. If you want to eat less, having a smaller plate is always a great option, right? You can serve yourself a lot of food.
Okay.
And if you want to eat more, if you're looking at bulking, if you're looking at gaining muscle, then having a larger plate will allow to have more food in that instance.
Gotcha.
So as a first tip during the holidays, especially if you're in medication, and as a general rule, I would say, is start with your protein. Making sure that you're getting your protein first and filling most of the plate with it is absolutely important. We have some chicken breast here, and then we have some turkey. So we're gonna start with the turkey, and we're gonna start with a whole turkey here. Actually, let's do a little bit more. I'm actually in a bulky phase, so
Okay.
we'll do a little more protein because we're gonna need it for today.
Okay, nice.
And then for someone that may be eating less, you can do just a slightly smaller portion.
Okay.
But as you can see,
And plates make a big difference because visually, like if you fill that one up, I will for some reason think that I'm eating more.
More, exactly.
Than if you just give me a little bit
Exactly.
in that big plate. I
yeah,
don't
and
know
you can
why.
see here most of the plates are already filled.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Usually
yeah.
there's a
So
little more
visually,
space.
You're already like thinking you're gonna eat a lot more.
Yep, absolutely. And then next, so we avoid filling our plates with too many carbohydrates. Sometimes that's where we can get in trouble, as we were talking earlier. We want to next continue with the vegetables.
Okay.
Part of also being in GLP-1 is that
So you can do some green beans maybe?
yes,
or-
green beans, a
Okay.
salad.
Okay.
So as I was mentioning, part of being in GLP-1 is you want to have high fiber foods, so that your gut is getting filled. And high fiber foods can come through vegetables
Okay.
and through whole grains as well.
Okay. So then a little bit of. I always like to add as much color as I
Absolutely.
can
Yes.
on my plate.
Mhm.
It just makes it look pretty, and
Yeah.
I want to take nice photos of my food. So
It's already looking delicious. A little more
it
on
looks
this.
good.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the salad, we can kind of get into trouble sometimes because the dressings can be high in calories, high in fat. So what's kind of like your typical rule around that? What do you recommend?
Well, sometimes we can control that, right? Because we go to a party where the salad's already
Like
dressed.
this one's already done.
Right,
so-
exactly. And then there's a side salad that we purposefully didn't put any dressing on.
Okay.
So there's two solutions here. If you are concerned about the vegetables or the salads, you can bring the salad yourself to the party
Okay.
and put the dressing on the side. Here we have some really good olive oil. So
Okay.
what we can do is, actually this is already looking
It's
kind
already
of full.
looking so full.
Yeah. So what you can do is skip the salad, the undressed salad for now, and then
Would
come
you
back
start
later.
with a salad maybe?
I think it depends on what you like.
Oh, okay.
You can do whatever you like, whatever you want. We went with these two. I'm actually super happy with this plate.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
We can do a little bit of
We need a
butternut.
little carb,
Yep.
little carb action.
Yep. Some carbohydrates with butternuts, and some cranberry for extra flavor.
Pack it in there.
Yeah,
Whatever
pack it
space
in there.
you can get. What is your like go-to carb, doctor? Like that you really enjoy,
Oh, yams are my go-to.
right?
Yeah, just like you.
Yes.
Can do a
Same.
little pomegranate seeds on top, and let's do a little gravy. The gravy's
Okay.
right behind you. If you can hand us that.
Ooh, it's still hot.
Yeah, watch out. Get us around. And one thing, a third or second tip that we have is using tablespoons and measuring cups.
Okay.
And the way you can do this is essentially a measuring cup and a tablespoon has a certain amount of volume that you can serve yourself in.
Okay.
And by learning what your needs are,
Okay.
for example, if you know that 4 ounces of sweet potatoes, or of potato mash is exactly what you need, then using half a cup of that, scooping it up and putting it in your plate
Okay.
is going to portion control your food. It's not
Okay.
going to give you more or less, and you're actually controlling it a little bit more. So for
Yeah.
all my control people out there, I think this is a great tool to have.
Yeah.
And for sauces, we can use tablespoons. That way we know that we're just adding 1 tablespoon or 2, and it's just a perfect right amount portion.
Yeah.
You're not overdoing it.
Right. Okay. So that's also like a good portion size for dressing.
For dressing, yeah.
So for like an olive oil, maybe mixed with some, what would you add? Like some lemon, maybe a little salt.
You can even do some
Honey.
balsamic vinegar. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And so that would be the right amount for
yeah.
a dressing,
Yeah,
for a salad.
yeah. And we
Okay.
were talking off camera. You were mentioning that you have a system with your hands.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so that's a great idea to kind of use measuring cups and spoons for this. But if you don't, especially if you're traveling for the holidays, I like to use my hand, and I'll explain. So I tell my clients, when it comes to protein, this is about a portion of protein. Obviously, depending on what you're taking or your dietary needs, that's going to change. For me, I like to stick to 1 or 2 portions about this size, the size of my palm, of protein. When it comes to carbs, I use the palm of my hand as a guide. And so that whether that's yam, sweet potato, rice, potato, whatever, about that size. Yeah. So yeah, that's right about right. And then when it comes to oils, sauces, or anything that has oil in it, this is about the size that I go with. So just kind of eyeball it.
Nice.
Obviously, if you have the measuring cups or like a measuring scale, that's even better. But it's the
Absolutely.
holidays.
Right.
Live a little, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And doctor, you always say this, that it's not about, eating the wrong foods. It's about eating too much of the wrong foods, right? So
Right.
not that you can't indulge, but it's just watch your portion. So for someone, on a GLP-1 medication, why is protein so critical? Like it's important for everybody, but especially for people on these medications.
Yeah, if you're taking GLP-1 agonists, basically your goal is to lose weight, essentially.
Right.
Your body doesn't distinguish between whether it's going to lose weight by burning fat
Okay.
or burning protein, right? It doesn't really figure out how to go about that. So
Okay.
your key thing to do is to make sure that you have enough protein so that if your body does waste protein, you're replenishing it. So
Okay.
that's why keeping up with protein intake is so important. So at the holidays, my go-to kind of directive to patients is that basically start with the protein, make sure that you got enough of that, and then you can fill in the rest with vegetables and carbs afterwards and desserts and whatnot.
So
But make
start
sure
here.
Exactly. Make sure that you've gotten the protein load down first and then move on afterwards.
Gotcha. And then whatever's left over, that's for dessert.
If you get
Always,
there.
always.
If we
when
get
you
there,
if
there.
we get
always a
there.
little room for dessert. You gotta have that little sweet.
But this looks really good. So this is honestly, this is something that I would probably sit down
Absolutely.
and eat. But then for someone who is on GLP-1 medication, this
Yeah.
is about right.
And again, you're not limiting. You're limiting the servings, but you're not saying no to the food, right?
Right.
You're still having the
Yeah.
same food. It's just
Pretty good
portion
stuff.
controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. Yeah, this is really important. I also want to do a little recap of it. Actually, before I get there, doctor, what are the downsides? Like if you don't prioritize protein and you're on these medications, there are some like pretty, important side effects that like if they don't eat enough protein, they could regret it.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest ones are basically loss of hair. Patients who lose weight very quickly, whether you're taking GLP-1 agonists or not, if you lose weight quickly, you tend to lose hair.
Okay.
So that's one thing, obviously, that we don't want. The other
And muscle
thing,
atrophy, right?
muscle atrophy, and basically long term, as you get older, you're going to lose muscle anyways, and so we
Okay.
want to prevent that loss as much as we can. And so taking enough protein is vital.
Right. Yeah. Love that. So this is great, Chef. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Yeah.
And I know we threw a lot of tips at you, a lot of insights, but I just want to give you a little recap. We shared tips between all three of us. So again, prioritize protein and fiber. Make sure that you are hydrated. And I want to also offer up this one tidbit. I know that it's going to get crowded in the kitchen, in the living room, but try to move around. One thing that really helped me with my weight loss was to shift the focus away from the food, even though it is delicious and it's such a treat to enjoy, but shift it to socializing. Like walk around, even though it's crowded. Just keep moving because that also helps with digestion. And also you're just getting your steps in, okay? And take photos. I regret not taking a lot more before pictures because I was too embarrassed. So just enjoy the holidays, take the photos, make those memories, okay? You got this. I know that it could be a little overwhelming, but I hope that you remember your reasons for staying healthy because if those reasons are strong, your excuses won't be. So just keep that in mind, and I hope that you're able to muster all of your willpower to make sure that this holiday season you prioritize your health. And coming up next, we're going to be talking about what to do after. Now that you've had this beautiful meal, how do you kind of bounce back and get back to normal after all the feasting? Okay, so now we're going to talk about after the holidays. You might think I overdid it. I ate a little bit too much. Believe me, you can get back on track and don't feel like this is going to ruin all of your year, all of your progress. So let's talk about that. Doctor, what are some like maintenance tips? For a lot of people, maybe they ate a little bit more than they wanted to, but how do they stay consistent and sort of bounce back into that routine?
Yeah, I don't even know if you really want to call it bouncing back. You can eat basically 3,500 calories to gain a pound. So,
Wow.
I mean, essentially...
So it takes a lot.
It takes a lot. So basically, that's a full day's worth of calories that you have to eat in order to gain a pound. Okay. So I wouldn't let one meal kind of like go a little bit overboard, get in your head and making yourself feel like you're a failure.
Right.
Just keep on it. And like I said, focus on the proteins and take it day by day and you'll do fine. So one cheat day, not going to ruin anything.
Yeah, don't let it derail you.
Exactly.
I feel like when I was losing weight, if I messed up or I had like one cheat meal, then it would ruin the whole rest of the day. And so don't feel that way. Get back on track. We don't want to say bounce back because like you can still recover. Let's just say that. You can recover from whatever decisions you made during the holidays. And also, Chef, what about the leftovers? They can be good, but also bad because there could be a lot of temptation.
Yeah.
But what are the things that we should keep and how should we store them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about portion control. We talked about using cups and measuring spoons. So a great way to know exactly what you're eating is by separating the components in its own category. So for example, we have vegetables by themselves, we have the carbs with the carbs and the protein.
Proteins.
So that you can continue to portion control, you can continue to put everything on a plate that is meant for your body, the amount of food that is meant for your body.
Okay.
And this way, it's easy to just grab it from the fridge and do exactly that, right? And also a good tidbit, a little pro culinary tip here is food safety is super important, especially during the holidays. Food's gonna be sitting out for a little bit, so it's gonna cool down. You want to essentially take all your food, put it in containers, and if it's not cool to the touch, you wanna put it in the fridge open until it cools down completely, because if you put food in a container and you close it up, that is perfect breeding ground for bacteria, and that can cause foodborne illnesses, and that can cause the food to spoil very quickly.
Yeah, we don't want people getting sick.
Exactly.
Not after or during the holidays, for that
Exactly.
matter. Awesome. So then, Chef, there's a really great deal going on right now for people who want to try Trifecta, because like I said, this is great to have leftovers, but maybe they ate all the food and there's nothing left and you want to like stay on track after the holidays. So tell us about that sweet deal that Trifecta has.
Yeah, so Trifecta and Orderly Mess have a beautiful partnership, and we're offering 50% discount for the first order, the first Trifecta order.
Okay.
The link is going to be in the description, so make sure you click that and you'll be able to get that 50% applied at checkout.
Okay.
And then I think this is a great way. Ordering Trifecta during the holidays is actually a great way to stay on track, like we were talking before earlier on the video, and it's a great way to get ahead of your New Year's resolutions. Right,
Yeah.
I think you have.
I have this thing I want to share it because not a lot of people say this, but I have a reverse New Year's resolution. So instead of like waiting until next year to kind of start on those goals, it's like, what if we end the year achieving at least one?
Yeah.
So I start before.
Yeah, absolutely. And what better time than December or November,
Yeah,
December,
yeah.
and making sure that you're sticking to your goals by having ready-to-eat meals.
I love that. Yeah, and doctor, obviously you have this holistic approach when it comes to weight loss. And for people who feel that they have to do it by themselves or without the tools, I feel like after this webinar, maybe you're more familiar with the idea of like getting help. Whether that's, getting Trifecta meals or maybe getting some sort of medication. So for people who are interested in GLP-1 medication, what is your recommendation? Where do they start?
Yeah, they can go to orlymeds.com and basically read up on, there's a lot of great information on GLP-1 agonists there. Or you can just even start your journey by Googling GLP-1 agonists and get more information on how these medications works and their safety profile, because they've been around for 20 years and they've been vetted for many years at this point.
I think we forget that because they've been around for a long time, but they just now became so popular quite recently. So do some research, and then like you mentioned, Orderly Meds is a great company that can help you get started on your journey. So thank you, chef.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks for the meals, and thank you guys for sticking around till the very end. I hope that this holiday season is the healthiest and most festive ever. And cheers, guys. Thank you.
Let's eat.
Okay, happy holidays. Salud.
Everybody's terrible.